um 23:50.
Ja, das orientiere ich mich, wenn ich das sehe, wenn ich die Uhr sehe. Immer Zuspielung von dem Blanker
Tobias.
Ja, Rekord, 8,57 oder?
8,87 ist sein.
5,87.
5,87, ja genau.
87. Und vom Sieg von der Elmar.
Okay.
So, also wir reden als erster, sage ich ganz allgemein. Dann haben wir ein Interview mit dem Heiko über das, dass das halt schwierig war mit diesem ganzen immer wieder anpassen, die Konzepte und vielleicht auch der Wetterumschwung könnte noch schwierig werden. Und dann reden wir über die...
Summer Series and who will become the Austrian champion. But before we kick it off, let's have a quick glance to one of the most spectacular climbing lines here in Tirol.
Das Ganze hat im Prinzip in der Boulderhalle begonnen.
It all started with climbing indoors. We soon realized that the best place to climb in our area is the Schleier waterfall. The first time we were there was at 12 or 13. After that, we spent almost all our time climbing there through until the age of 17 to 18.
Die Kletterrouten Number One
is the first climbing route created in the Schleier waterfall. It was Christian Mariacha who did it. I don't think he knew at the time how popular this area would become, as one of the top places in the world for hard climbing.
Marcus was my little brother. I used to make him come with me, so I had someone to try the route with. We didn't tell anyone what we were doing because our parents were strictly against it. They said you have to be crazy to do rock climbing and that people die doing it. They didn't want us as their children to have any part in it.
Our climbing crew was made up of Guido Unterwurzacher, Matthias Scheistel, Tony Mosshammer, my brother and me. We didn't go skiing in winter. Instead, we went climbing all year round. Spending so much time together creates really close friendships, which we have continued until today.
I hope you enjoyed it. And now let's kick it off and throw it to our Austrian colleagues of the Austrian Broadcasting Corporation. And while climbing is starting, you will get the commentary in English of our colleague Charlie Bosco. Let's get it started right now.
Heißen Sie recht herzlich willkommen zu den österreichischen Staatsmeisterschaften in Klettern hier in Innsbruck. In den kommenden 4 Tagen bis Samstag geht es hier um Medaillen, um Gold, Silber und Bronze in Österreich mit dem großen Finale, mit dem olympischen Kombinationsbewerb dann am Samstag. Es freut mich, dass Sie mit dabei sind. Heute geht es gleich richtig schnell los, geht gleich richtig zur Sache. Hier im Hintergrund gibt es die Speedwand, 15 Meter hoch. Das ist alles genormt, eine einheitliche Route auf der ganzen Welt, die geklettert werden muss, so schnell wie möglich. Und es freut mich auch, dass der Reini Scherer, unser Kletterexperte, wieder an meiner Seite ist. Reini, bist du selbst einmal diese Route so schnell wie möglich geklettert?
Ja, beim Einschrauben. Und zum Griffmontage.
Was war deine Zeit?
26 Sekunden.
Steigerungspotenzial? Die Top-Zeiten sind ja deutlich darunter.
Ja, die Top-Zeiten gehen zu 5,48 ist der Weltrekord und der österreichische Rekord ist bei 5,87. Und ja, es ging schneller ab, bei mir nicht mehr.
Diese Staatsmeisterschaften stehen ja unter einem ganz besonderen Licht, nämlich unter dem Corona-Licht. Es ist ja ziemlich schwierig, hier in Österreich oder allgemein Sportveranstaltungen durchzuführen. Umso glücklicher können sich die Kletterer und Klettererinnen schätzen, dass es diese Veranstaltung hier gibt an diesen Tagen im Kletterzentrum Innsbruck. Aber es war alles andere als einfach, das hat auch der Sportdirektor gesagt, Heiko Wilhelm. Heiko Wilhelm, ganz besondere österreichische Staatsmeisterschaften, auch unter dem Corona-Aspekt. Was war denn besonders schwierig oder was war die große Herausforderung vor dieser Veranstaltung?
Also natürlich haben wir die österreichischen Staatsmeisterschaften schon länger geplant zu diesem Zeitpunkt. Allerdings ist zu sagen, die Situation hat sich doch in den letzten Wochen noch ein bisschen zugespitzt. Leider auch hier in Innsbruck. Das hat uns natürlich dazu veranlasst, dass wir ständig unsere Maßnahmen, unser Präventionskonzept haben adaptieren müssen. Das heißt jetzt natürlich Maskenpflicht am gesamten Eventgelände, nur mehr die Hälfte an Zusehern. Also wir haben jetzt insgesamt nur maximal 100 Zuseher pro Disziplin, was natürlich schon eine sehr starke Einschränkung ist und gleichzeitig aber einen überproportionalen Aufwand. Aber letztendlich ist es wichtig, die Verantwortung gegenüber allen teilnehmenden Mitarbeitern und natürlich Zusehern. Und das ist letztendlich um das, was es geht, neben den sportlichen Erfolgen. Und da wollen wir natürlich auch 100% das bieten können.
In den anderen Sportarten hört man immer wieder auch von positiven Corona-Fällen. Wie schaut es denn allgemein in der Kletterszene aktuell aus?
Ja, also Gott sei Dank hatten wir aus Seiten des Nationalteams bisher Glück, wobei ich denke, es ist keiner davor gefeit, dass irgendwann einmal ein positiver Fall kommen wird. Gerade man kennt es natürlich, überall hört man es, da ist jemand positiv und da ist jemand positiv. Ich hoffe natürlich, dass wir die Veranstaltung gut über die Bühne bringen. Ganz sicher kann man sich nicht sein. Wir müssen nur schauen, dass unsere Maßnahmen und Konzepte entsprechend greifen, dass wir da das Risiko einer Ansteckung wirklich minimieren.
Auch das Wetter ist vielleicht nicht unbedingt so gedacht für die kommenden Tage, dass es optimal ist vom Sonnenschein her und von der Temperatur. Es ist Regen, hat gesagt, den Temperatursturz. Wie spielt das hinein in diese Wettkämpfe?
Ja, sicher, das Wetter mit nahezu Schneefallvoraussagen in den Bergen für das kommende Wochenende ist natürlich auch eine zusätzliche Herausforderung. Vor allem auch deshalb, weil es eben eine Outdoor-Veranstaltung ist. Die größten Sorgen machen uns schon ein bisschen der Speedbewerb am Samstagabend. Wir hoffen, dass es halbwegs trocken bleibt, weil ansonsten müssen wir uns entscheiden, nach innen zu gehen. Gott sei Dank bietet das Kletterzentrum Innsbruck, wo wir das BLZ haben, diese Möglichkeit. Es wäre uns aber trotzdem lieber, wenn wir es heraus machen können, aber vielleicht haben wir ja das Wetterglück auf unserer Seite.
Danke. Speedwand, die ja nicht überdacht ist, das ist wahrscheinlich das große Problem bei Speed, falls das Wetter umschlagen sollte. Was sind die Probleme für die Athletinnen und Athleten, die noch kommen werden in den kommenden Tagen?
Die Wand ist an und für sich wetterabgewandt, also das heißt, ein leichter Regen verträgt das sehr gut, aber wenn es mehr regnet, dann wird der Boden unten nass und dadurch werden die Schuhe natürlich feucht und kann man ausrutschen. Und wenn es heftiger regnet, dann ist die Luftfeuchtigkeit natürlich auch größer. Aber wir haben ja innen eine zweite Speedanlage und dann verlegen wir das Ganze wahrscheinlich nach innen.
Temperatur? Es wird ziemlich kalt, ne? Also
ja, so unter 10 Grad wird es dann unangenehm, aber so ab 10 Grad aufwärts ist es Klettern eigentlich ganz okay.
Jetzt ist es aber noch spätsommerlich und deswegen freuen wir uns auf die Finalentscheidungen bei den Speedbewerben bei Männern und Frauen. Schauen wir gleich mal zu den Männern. Da gibt es ja einen neuen österreichischen Rekord seit dem Sommer. Da haben wir Tobias Blanker, der 5,87 schon geklettert ist. Eine auch international sehr ansehnliche Zeit. Der erste, der unter 6 Sekunden in Österreich geklettert ist.
Ja, und ist ja auch international heuer eine der 10 schnellsten Zeiten weltweit. Und das macht zuversichtlich für die Disziplin Speed.
War ja im Rahmen der Austrian Climbing Summer Series, die ja im Juli auch durchgeführt wird, diese 2 Speedbewerbe, ein Duell mit Lukas Knapp. Erwartet man sich, was erwartest du?
Naja, es kann sehr spannend werden, weil der Knapp ist total motiviert. Er hat jetzt 2 Titel, aber er will jetzt auch die Zeit haben. Beim Tobias ist es umgekehrt, er hat die Zeit, aber den Titel nicht. Und das, glaube ich, wird das ganz spannend. In der Vorrunde haben wir jetzt schon super Zeiten gesehen, auch vom Knapp Lukas, der echt Richtung 6 Sekunden hingelaufen ist, aber dann oben einen Ausrutscher gehabt hat. Wie gesagt, ein spannendes Duell bei den beiden.
Bei den Männern ist mittlerweile die Dichte schon sehr groß, bei den Frauen noch nicht ganz so. Da ist Alexandra Elmer eigentlich die Szene in Österreich beherrscht hat, auch in der Summer Series die Bewerbe gewinnen können. Da haben wir auch ein paar Bilder davon, geht auch als Favoritin heute in dieses Finale oder in die Finalläufe. Laura Stöckler ist vielleicht eine, die ihr da Paroli bieten könnte. Wie siehst du da die Situation?
Ja, die Laura Stöckler ist sicher das Nachwuchstalent im weiblichen Speed. Klettern und ist auch eine, die um die 8, 9 Sekunden mitklettern kann. Eigentlich die einzige mit der Elmar Alexander.
Also da gibt es zum einen natürlich die Spezialistinnen und Spezialisten, die um den Sieg, um den Tagessieg, Disziplinensieg heute klettern, aber das Ganze zählt natürlich auch zu der Kombinationswertung. Da hat man sich schon im Rahmen der Summer Series qualifizieren können, aber auch hier in diesen Tagen gibt es noch 2 freie Plätze für das Finale dann am Samstag. Einer, der freiwillig ausgeschieden ist Jakob Schubert, der ist etwas verletzt, angeschlagen. Wie geht es dem Jakob?
Ja, an und für sich geht es ihm ganz gut. Er hat eine Bizepsansatzverletzung und wenn er da nicht aufpasst, kann es ziemlich hartnäckig werden. Es ist so, dass er jetzt versucht, das Speed auszulassen und das Bouldern, weil es so schnellkräftig ist und das eher auf den Ansatz vom Bizeps hingeht. Und er startet nur in der Lead-Disziplin, weil er da eher dosieren kann. Hilft aber jetzt beim Boulderbauen mit, weil er dort auch sehr viel Erfahrung sammeln kann und die Bewegungen, die ihm schmerzhaft sein, einfach weglassen kann.
Da sind wir schon sehr gespannt. Er wird morgen bei uns zu Gast sein. Morgen stehen ja die Boulder-Bewerbe, die Boulder-Finalbewerbe, die wir Ihnen auch live übertragen dann auf dem Programm ab 18 Uhr bzw. ab 20:15 Uhr. So, jetzt sind aber die Speed-Spezialistinnen und Spezialisten an der Reihe. In Kürze geht's los mit den Finalentscheidungen für Frauen und Männern. Viel Spaß mit Norbert Berliner und Reinhold Scherer.
Good evening and welcome along to Innsbruck, 6 weeks on from the end of the summer series. We are back with more action from the Kletterzentrum here at the Sillside Centre, right next to the River Sill. Speed climbing first in this Austrian Championship. Tomorrow we've got a full programme of boulder, then lead on the Friday, losing track of my days, and on Saturday we'll have the combined competition at the end of the Austria Climbing Summer Series as well. Men will be out first in the speed climbing, 16 men taking part. Just the 8 women this evening. We didn't have enough entrants to have a full field of 16 on the women's side, so just 8 women. But the full complement of 16 men, and that's how they'll line up. And as ever, first ranked climber from the qualifiers, Tobias Planger, will be out first, and he'll be taking on Linus Walter, who was 16th in the qualifiers. 12 men under 10 seconds in the qualifying round, which took place earlier on this evening. And interestingly enough, over a second gap between 8th place Andreas Altschnater and 9th Thomas Podland. So no doubt who the favourite 8 are for the next round. 16 men, as I said, Only 8 can go through, and at this level of speed climbing in the finals, you are simply racing the person next to you. It doesn't matter what the time is, as long as you're quicker than your opponent. So Tobias Planger on the left, Linus Walter on the right. Saw them both warming up in the car park earlier on. It's not all glamour in speed climbing. So Tobias Planger on the left, 5.98. Oh, and an issue for him. Now this is interesting. First race out, and there was actually an issue with the timing system earlier on. There's something of a tradition in speed climbing competitions. And Tobias Planger there on the left, who I was just saying was first in the qualifiers with a blisteringly quick time of 5.98 seconds, signally wasn't happy with something. The officials obviously felt he was justified in that complaint, because they've stopped the race and will restart it again. So as I say, Tobias Planger on the left, 5.98 in the qualifiers against Linus Walter on the left, who is 11.11 in the qualifiers, and Tobias Planger barely going at full tilt and will take it in 6.329. 11.487 for his compatriot and rival. Tobias Planger safely through, favourite in the first race, and he duly delivers. The way the seeding works, the second race in a speed climbing final is between 8th and 9th, so it should in theory be the closest race of this round of 16. That was Tobias Planger about 0.4 of a second slower than he was in the qualifiers. Plenty left in the tank for him. Andreas Auschneitner now on the left, 8.66. I mentioned earlier there was over a second between him and 9th place, the man who's racing him, Thomas Podlan, who was 9.75 in the qualifiers, and that second advantage really showing itself, but a double fall might hand this one to Thomas Podlan. It's going to be very tight, and Andreas did not manage to stop the timing pad. Thomas Podlan takes one of the messiest races you are likely to see in 9.670, safely through to the round of 8. Won't win any beauty competitions, that one, but job done. Let's have another look. He didn't have the cleanest run himself. But that was all it took. Actually, Andreas got to the timing pads ahead of him, but did not manage to stop it. Remember, you have to apply sufficient pressure in the correct place in order to stop the timing system, and he didn't do it. Nikolai Uznik now closest to the camera on the left hand, the A lane. He's taking on Christoph Breuer. Thick end of 3 seconds between these two in the qualifiers, with the man on the left, Nikolai Uznik, the quicker with a 7.51, and he looks like he should bring this one home pretty easily, and does. 7.516 sees him safely through. .565 for Christoph in the right-hand lane, a second or so slower than he managed in the qualifying round. So Nikolai Uznik safely through. He'll take on the winner of the next race. Lawrence Burgersdorfer will be on the left, 7.68 for him in qualifiers, gave him 5th place, and Andreas Hofherr, his rival on the right, 9.92. Both away cleanly, but it was Lawrence who got the quicker start, and he's opened up a good lead. Just needs to keep things clean from here on out. Not the quickest run of his life, I suspect, but at 8.225, it's plenty to see him through. 9.930 for Andreas Hofherr. If you're just tuning in, welcome along. It's the Austrian Championship here in Innsbruck, alongside the River Sill. Beautiful location. We've got a pretty nice night for it as well. It wasn't the best day here in Innsbruck, but things have cleared up nicely, just as well, because the venue is outside, albeit there's a speed wall inside. as well. But we are out in the cool evening air here in the Austrian Alps. Matthias Erber now on the left, was qualified second, 6.46, looking pretty determined. Roman Neuwirth alongside him with a 10.87, which was only enough for 15th place. And you can see Matthias Erber's pace telling. Big stumble from him. Bit of a jumpy run. He's certainly capable of better than that, but at 8.344 he is safely through. Have another look. You can see there was a big stop. It basically stopped completely midway up, and there it was. It was the right foot that missed. He had to look at the left foot again, a little higher up. So not the cleanest run, might not do his confidence the world of good, but he is safely through. And if you're just wondering what the little letters next to their name are, by the way, that refers to the part of Austria that the climber is from. Remember, this isn't the summer series, so there are no Swiss athletes, no Germans. All the climbers from Austria and all from different parts of Austria. So TIR, for example, is Tirol. On the left now, Johannes Hofherr, the slightly slower of the Hofherr brothers in the qualifying round, taking on Robin Kirchmayr. And it looks like Johannes Hofherr should have this one pretty easily. He does 8.331. Take another look. Again, not the cleanest run in the world, but more than good enough. 8.331. And there you can see the letters I was referring to against Johannes Hofherr's name. VLBG for Arlberg, the area just to the west of us here in the Tyrol. Jan-Luca Posch now on the left, qualified in third place, 7.28 for him in the qualifiers. Clemens Trithart on the right was 10.50, 10.5 seconds on the nose. And it's a big fall from Jan-Luca Posch, and that is going to hand it to Clemens. 10.018. About half a second quicker than he was in the qualifying round. Disappointment for Jan-Luca. Good qualifying round, not been followed up here in the final. Let's have another look. What happened? I was hoping we might see a replay of Jan-Luca Posch. As it is, it was Clemens Trithart clocking 10.018. Final race of this round of 16 in the men, then Lucas Knapp on the left. 8.11 for him in the qualifiers, and Thomas Kohlbacher on the right. 9.78, so left-hand lane Lucas Knapp favourite for this one. And looking pretty handy, I have to say. Stops the clock at 6.724. Big step up from what he managed in the qualifiers. He is safely through. Really clean run, as I say. Second and a half quicker than the qualifiers. Real pace. And he will take some stopping in the next round, where he'll take on Clemens Trithart. So that is how they will line up. Those climbers safely through to the top 8. Tobias Planger, Thomas Paudelan, Nikolai Uznik, Lawrence Bogersdorfer, Matthias Erber, Johannes Hofherr, Clemens Trithart and Lucas Knapp. So on to the women now. As I mentioned earlier, just 8 women through this evening. We didn't have enough women to make up a full round of 16. So we've essentially skipped out the round of 16, gone straight through to the quarterfinals, and it will be Alexandra Elmer out first, climbing closest to the camera. First place for her in the qualifiers, 8.75. She'll take on Stephanie Leitner, 12.41, and 8th place for her in the qualifying round. As you can see, COVID-19 measures still in place, masks worn until the last possible second by the climbers, and the belayers, if we can call them that, the attachers, also wearing masks along with all the officials. Increasingly strict restrictions here in Austria, it would seem, over the past week or two. So Alexandra Aumer on the left gets a clean start. She had about a 4-second advantage over her rival, judging by the qualifying times, and that is beginning to show here. Stops the clock at 8.975. No problem at all for Alexandra Aumer. Favourite in that race, and probably for the whole competition, is safely through. Stephanie Leitner, not the best run for her, 14.644. Didn't get to see much of Stephanie. She just disappeared behind Alexandra Aumer. No doubt she's the favourite here this evening. Looked good in the qualifiers, and not too much wrong with that. Moni Jenevine will be out next, taking on Selina Schäuble. Wasn't too much to separate these two actually in the qualifying round. Mona 10.77, she'll be on the left then. You can see Selina Schäuble on the right, 11.35. Interestingly, in the qualifiers, we did have a tie for third place. You don't get that every day. It was Mona and Leah Kempf, who we'll see a bit later on. For now, though, Mona Jenevine on the left, just about hanging on to the advantage over Selina Schäuble. As I said, there wasn't much between them in the qualifiers. There's not much between them in the race, but Mona gets the job done in 10.618. Pretty well matched, as the qualifying times would have suggested. And as the qualifying times would have suggested, Moni Jenevine taking it by about half a second. Laura Stuckler climbing next, qualified in second place, 9.11. One of only two climbers to go under 10 seconds. She was comfortably under in the qualifiers. She's taking on Julia Lotz. Really good start from Laura Stuckler. Explosive start, aggressive start. Maybe even threw Julia Lotz off somewhat, such was the speed of the start. Either way, Julia fell low down, and Laura will take it in 9.237. She'll take on the winner of the next race, as we see a quick look at her run again. Not too much wrong with that. About a tenth of a second slower than she went in the qualifiers. But with essentially no opponent to run against after Julia Lotz fell very low. Laura Stuckler cruising through into the semi-final. Leah Kempf now, who I mentioned a second ago, who was joint third with Moni Jenevine in the qualifying round on 10.77, takes on Jana Raut, who was sixth in the qualifying. So Leah Kempf, who is just under a second quicker than Jana Raut in the qualifiers, should take this one. She's on the left, but it's looking a little bit tighter than you might have expected. Should take it here, though. Just needs to tap the pad and does. 10.858 sees her through. So that's already the women's round of 8 concluded. We're straight on to the semi-finals for the women. Once we've done the round of 8 for the men and decided our male semi-finalists as well. That's how they'll line up. Alexandra Aumer, Moni Jenevine, Laura Stuckler and Leah Kempf. There's the speed wall here in Innsbruck. If you've ever climbed here at the Kletterzentrum, you'll see exactly where we are. The big lead wall on the right as we look at it there was host to the qualifying round in the 2018 World Championship. It was home to all the rounds in the Youth World Championship in 2017. So increasingly storied venue here in Innsbruck. But this speed wall, not seen nearly as many competitions down the years. Looking wonderful set against the black night. Getting darker earlier and earlier in the Alps right now, and getting colder as well. Conditions, I suspect, reasonably good on the wall. So Tobias Planger now on the left will take on Thomas Podland. Tobias Planger judging by both qualifying and the performance in the previous round, the round of 16, should have about a 3-second advantage here, which is frankly enormous over the course of 15 seconds. 15 metres, excuse me. So Planger on the left, Podlan on the right. Tobias Planger, the strong favourite in this one. Gets a really good start there, Tobias Planger. Thomas Podlan looked pretty psyched for the race, but he just can't live without speed. And 6.260 sees Tobias Planger through with ease. Really quick run from him. Anyone capable of going under 6 seconds is a serious speed climber, and you can see it there. So neat. Doesn't need to look down at the feet. Very little sideways momentum, just going straight up towards the buzzer. Very, very clean run. 6.26. Nikolai Uznik now takes on Lawrence Borgersdorfer. Nikolai on the left, Lawrence on the right. Less than a second between these two. Their times in the round of 16. But it's Nikolai who gets a better start, but Lawrence really quick through the middle section. This one could be pretty tight, and a fall from Nikolai Uznik costs him. Lawrence Borgersdorfer had a big stumble, but it wasn't a fall. He stayed on the wall, and 9.376, whilst not the quickest time in the world, is enough to see him through. It wasn't a clean run at all. He got stumbled himself, just about managed to hang on. It's like a scene out of Cliffhanger. But he got himself back on the wall, and he stops the clock. And remember, it doesn't matter how long you take. It's about beating the person next to you. Within reason. We've all got homes to go to. But you have got as long as you like, as long as you're quicker than the person next to you. And Lawrence was quicker than Nikolai and goes through. 9.376. Matthias Urban now against Johannes Hofer. There was less than a tenth of a second between their times in the round of 16, so this one should be tight. Matthias Urban looked like he got the better start, though. Absolutely explosive. He was under 6.5 in the qualifying round. He's just over 6.5 this time. 6.523. Matthias Urban safely through. Didn't have a great run in the round of 16. I said it may have knocked his confidence, doesn't appear to have done so. He is safely through, and much more his normal self around the 6.5 second mark. Clemens Trithart will be out next, the surprise winner in the previous round against Gianluca Posch. He made it through with 10.018 seconds, and Lucas Knapp came through in a pretty blistering time of 6.724. So Lucas Knapp on the right, reasonably strong favourite in this one. We've had a few surprises already here in Innsbruck this evening. Maybe in for another. Clemens gets a reasonable start, but Lucas Knapp swing through the first few holds and then super clean through the rest of the run. 6.652, good time from him. He's safely into the semi-finals. And you see it there on your screen, 6.652. You can see that very little lateral movement. Hips just going directly upwards all the time. Slaps the buzzer, no problem at all. So interestingly enough, 3 of our 4 semi-finalists in the 6 seconds, Tobias Planger, Matthias Erber and Lucas Knapp, all comfortably under 7 seconds. Only Lawrence Borgersdorfer a little slower, 9.376. So without further ado, it is on to the women's semi-finals. Alexandra Elmer on the left, Moni Yenevine on the right. Elmer on the left, certainly the quicker of these two climbers, and has looked it so far today and is looking it on this run as well. Oh, and a big stumble, nearly cost her, but she had time in hand. And 9.487, enough to see her into the big final. Guaranteed at least second place now. Big stumble near the top nearly cost her. But as I said at the time, so much time in hand. So she's through into what we call the big final. It's essentially the runoff for first and second place. Moni Jenevine goes into the small final, which is the race for the bronze. So whoever wins this race will join Alexandra Elmer in the big final. And like Alexandra Elmer, is guaranteed at least a silver medal. Laura Stuckler on the left, closest to the camera. Leah Kampf on the right. Laura Stuckler got another really explosive start. Something of a trademark, it would seem. Reasonably quick through the middle section. Should take this one with ease, and does. 9.341.
Und Laura Stöckler ist die Nummer 2 der momentanen Summer Series Speed-Gesamtwertung.
So you can see it there. Big final will be Alexandra Elmer against Laura Stöckler. Small final, Moni Jenevine against Leah Kempf. Those in the big final, as I mentioned, already guaranteed at least a silver medal. It is the runoff between silver and gold. Not wasting any time here in Innsbruck this evening. We're getting straight on with things. Already got our big finalists decided and our small finalists over on the women's side. And it won't be long until we have the same done on the men's. We just await the arrival of the first two climbers in the semi-final, Tobias Planger and Lawrence Burgersdorfer. No doubt Tobias Planger, the favourite here. He's already been under 6 seconds today, albeit not on this broadcast. It was during the qualifying round earlier on this evening. But slowest time of the day is 6.329. By any measure, that is pretty handy. Getting within a second of the world record, of course, which is 5.48. But anyone dipping under 6.5 and even faster dipping under 6 is a serious operator. So Tobias Planger, the favourite here against Lawrence Burgersdorf. No slouch himself, capable of getting at getting to or near 7.5 seconds. No doubt Planger closest to the camera left as we look at the wall. The favourite here is just completely skipping out that third handhold. Absolutely flying up the wall, and 6.225. Didn't even need to go at full tilt, but it was enough to get him through. 7.088 for Lawrence. He'll be pleased with the time. And he might fancy his chances in the small final. So Tobias Planger is safely into the big final. Who will join him? It will be either Matthias Erber or Lukas Knapp. Could be tight, this one. Both able to run in the 6.5s. 6.5s, maybe a little faster. Erber on the left, Knapp on the right. Both need a clean start. Both get one. We haven't had a false start yet today, and it's Matthias Erber who really sees the initiative early on and just needs to keep it clean through the upper section, and does. 6.537, very quick time from him. So the first two from qualifying end up being the two in the big final. Tobias Planger and Matthias Erber will run for the gold medal in about 10 minutes time. Lukas Knapp goes into the small final alongside Lawrence Burgersdorfer. There you can see it. They were the fastest in the qualifying. They end up in the big final next to each other. Tobias Planger and Matthias Erber. Could be fireworks. And as I say, around 10 minutes time, 10 to 9 here, local time in Innsbruck in this Austrian Championship. So I can already hear the MC, introducing the climbers. And remember, they get reintroduced to the crowd at this stage of a speed climbing competition, with the small and the big finals already decided. And there we can see them, Alexandra Elmer, Laura Stuckler, Moni Jenevine and Lea Kempf. Slightly unfortunate lighting, giving things a slight Phantom of the Opera feel. And now the men are introduced as well. 4 men to the finals: Tobias Blanger, Matthias Erber, Lawrence Burgersdorfer and Lucas Knapp. As ever in the speed climbing competitions as well, all the climbers looking like they'd rather just be getting on with things, being reintroduced to the crowd, but it is part of the competition. And just see a judge fettling with the timing pads. I really hope we don't have any issues with the timing pads. There was one earlier in the qualifying round, but it was rectified pretty quickly. As I mentioned earlier, they're getting through the climbers so quickly this evening. They don't have time to go back to the warm-up area, which is only about 20 or 30 meters away. They're just staying right next to the wall. Not particularly cold, I have to say. So no worries about cooling off too much in between your runs, and you're getting your runs so quickly. So Mona Jenevine on the left, Lea Kempf on the right. This for the bronze medal. And the first of 4 days of competition here in Innsbruck. Mona Jenevine on the left, Lea Kempf on the right. Times and rankings go out of the window here. It's about holding your nerve at the crucial moment, and Mona Jenevine really had a explosive start, but it's much closer than you might have thought through the middle section. This could be absolutely anyone's. Keep an eye on the clock, and it is Mona Jenevine who takes it by about a 1/10 of a second, just under a 1/10 of a second. 3rd place for her, bronze medal. It was tight all the way up. Lea Kempf ended up getting within 8/100ths of a second. Not quite close enough. Mona Jenevine always looked like she had the tiniest of leads, but it was a tiny lead and it showed up on the clock. Let's have another look. This is a slow motion replay of 8/100ths of a second. Not much in that one at all. Margins absolutely tiny at this level of speed climbing. There we can see first confirmed results. In 3rd place, Mona Jenevine, and Lea Kempf takes 4th. And without further ado, we are on with the big final. This for the gold medal. Both these climbers guaranteed already a silver medal. They were 1st and 2nd in the qualifying round. The only 2 climbers on the women's side who went under 10. Alexandra Elmer, closer to the camera on the left there, as we look at the wall, went under 9, 8.75 in the qualifying, and repeated that trick in her first race earlier on as well. So she is a slight favourite, but Laura Stuckler, no slouch on the speed wall at all, and actually just stumbled as she left the blocks, and that might just deny us the race we're looking for. I think Alexandra Elmer will take this one at a canter. She does. 8.775. It wasn't much of a canter, but she looked like she could have gone even quicker as it is. She has done enough to win here in Innsbruck. Gold medal, Alexandra Elmer. 8.775. Marginally slower than she went in the qualifying round, but once again goes under 9 seconds. Wasn't actually made to work that hard for it. Laura Stuckler slipping really early on and going, in the end, just over 10 seconds. So Alexandra Elmer, fastest qualifier, won every race since then, picks up the gold medal, and you can see Laura Stuckler really left herself with a lot to do. When you stumble on that first move, you are in all sorts of trouble. Still not a bad time, just over 10 seconds, but sadly wasn't able to make it much of a race for us at home. But still, a silver medal, not a bad way to start what is going to be a very busy 4 days for most of these climbers. Lawrence Burgersdorfer now on the left, Lucas Knapp on the right. This for the bronze medal on the men's side, and both men got a good start, but Lawrence absolutely thriving through the middle section. They're using those long limbs to good effect and stopping the clock at 6.900. Very quick time from Lawrence Burgersdorfer. Under 7. 7.694 for his rival Lucas Knapp. Take another look. Lawrence Knapp he had to stop and look at his right foot. Really top speed climbers, they never look at their feet, they're always looking up, and he didn't look down at his feet again on the run, but it was just that first look down on the first jump up to the foothold with the right foot that cost him. So now, men's big final, Tobias Plange against Matthias Erber. Like on the women's side, they were the top 2 in the qualifiers. They end up being the top 2 in the big final. This for the gold medal. No, they're going to get a silver, but they haven't come this far for silver. Plange on the left, Matthias Erber on the right. Plange just about the favourite, but at this level there are really not much to choose between them. It's who handles the nerves best, and both seem to be handling them pretty well at this stage. But it is Tobias Plange who takes it. 5.943, goes under 6 seconds once again. It was the first time we'd seen it on the broadcast. He did it in the qualifying. He's done it again in the big final when it mattered most. First place for him, and the gold medal. Matthias Erber, 6.446, very good time by any measure, takes second place, and I think you can tell from the handshake, a lot of respect there, and I think he knows he was beaten by the stronger climber by about half a second. Tobias Plange really kept his cool all the way, super clean run. Lovely run, 5.943, that is a seriously quick time at any level of speed climbing, and he might as well enjoy it and celebrate on the way down. Matthias Erber, not much wrong with his run either. This is what 6.443 seconds looks like in slow motion. Could have headbutted the buzzer he got there with so much speed. But knew straight away he'd been beaten. And the first to applaud his compatriot Tobias Plange, who ends up in first place. It is Tobias Plange. Gold medal, Matthias Erber takes the silver, and Lawrence Burgersdorfer takes the bronze. Now, barely half an hour after we started, we're all done in the speed. If you find yourself in Innsbruck, you can always come and watch the qualifiers. But as it is, the final's done in, a little over half an hour. Nice to see as well. Mutual respect between the competitors and a nice handshake to finish it, but it is Tobias Plange, closest to the camera there, who takes the first gold medal of this 4 days. We'll be hearing from the winners a little later on for the German speakers out there. You can see already the belay systems put away here in Innsbruck.
Wir freuen uns über die Siegerin Alexandra Elmer.
Es
war ein Favoritensieg, wenn man so sagen darf. Trotzdem, wie stolz macht sie das, dass sie sich durchsetzen konnten gegen die Konkurrentinnen?
Ja, ich war schon die Favoritin, aber die Laura ist auch richtig stark und Staatsmeisterschaft ist immer was Besonderes. Und heute war ich schon ein bisschen nervös, aber es ist sie dann gut ausgegangen.
8,78 ist die Zeit. Wie ist für Sie allgemein von den Zeiten her dieses Finale oder dieser Abend verlaufen?
Also die Zeiten waren bei mir jetzt nicht so gut wie bei der Summer Series, aber ich bin zufrieden, ja.
Was war vielleicht der härteste Lauf oder das härteste Duell?
Jetzt sind wir das Finale mit der Laura.
Laura Stöckler ist ja eine, die Ihnen Parole bietet, die Sie immer wieder attackiert. Wie sehr matcht man sich da auch oder wie groß ist da auch die Rivalität?
Ja, das ist super, dass die Laura da ist, auch im Training, dass man halt eine Trainingspartnerin hat und sie auch im Training gegenseitig pushen kann, das ist schon wichtig.
Ja, sage ich danke. Was ist das Ziel für die Zukunft? Wo orientieren Sie sich hin?
Also das Ziel für nächstes Jahr war eine Zeit unter 8 Sekunden und mal schauen, was die Weltcups ob stattfinden oder nicht, aber eine volle Saison starten.
Okay, dann Gratulation nochmal zum Staatsmeistertitel.
Jetzt gibt es noch das OF-Interview mit Tobi Blanka. Und dann die Siegerin der Ladies und jene der Jungs.
Tobi Blanka, Gratulation zum Staatsmeistertitel. Sie strahlen, also man kann davon ausgehen, dass das für Sie ein erfolgreicher Abend war.
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Also ich bin mega zufrieden mit meiner Leistung. Es war eigentlich ein brutales mentales Battle für mich, weil ich wusste, ich bin gut drauf und dass es jetzt aufgegangen ist eine riesen Erleichterung für mich.
Der Finaldurchgang hat gar nicht so locker angefangen. Da hat es gleich mal ein Verständigungsproblem gegeben beim ersten Versuch. Was ist da genau passiert? Was war da los?
Ja, das Problem war für mich, dass ich vom DJ ein Musikgeräusch gehört habe. Das war so ähnlich wie in einem Krankenhaus, so ein Piepgeräusch. Das war genau dazwischen drin. Da war der Piepton von mir, dann der Piepgeräusch vom Krankenhaus und das hat mich verwirrt. Deswegen habe ich gleich einen Einspruch gemacht und es hat hingehört.
Hat Sie das irgendwie aus der Ruhe oder aus der Konzentration gebracht oder hat man sich da selbst so sehr unter Kontrolle?
Ich habe Erfahrung damit. Die ersten Male hat es nicht so gut hingehauen, aber heute Gott sei Dank gut und ich habe die Fassung behalten können.
Das Finale war dann wieder eine Zeit unter 6 Sekunden. Wie sind Sie mit Ihren Zeiten hier am Abend heute zufrieden?
Ja, absolut. Ich wollte nicht viel riskieren, aber für das, dass ich nicht viel riskiert habe und dann noch Zeit unter 6 Sekunden klettern kann, ist eigentlich ein mega Achievement und ich bin mega happy damit.
Allgemein hätte man vielleicht im Finale den Lukas Knapp auch erwartet. Hat Sie es überrascht, dass es nicht geschafft hat?
Schon, ja, aber durch den Wettkampf hindurch habe ich eben den Matti gesehen und er ist extrem stark geklettert. Und deswegen habe ich gewusst, es wäre ein hartes Battle zwischen den zwei, aber dann hat sich der Matti durchsetzen können.
Wo geht es noch mit der Zeit hin in den nächsten Monaten? Was ist Ihr Ziel?
Ja, ich muss jetzt aber weiter vorbereiten und hoffen, dass ich noch ein paar internationale Wettkämpfe habe. Das ist leider noch ungewiss, aber ich werde auf jeden Fall dranbleiben und probieren, die Zeit noch ein bisschen nach unten zu drücken.
Alles Gute noch einmal und Gratulation.
Danke.
Willkommen zur Siegerehrung.
Apologies for talking at the start of Alexandra Elmer's interview there. I'm sure you'd much rather hear from the winner than from me. So there you can see the podium already ready to go. Austrian efficiency all on show this evening. Rattle through things in no time at all. And here we go, ready for the podium. As you can see, masks on. It would appear coronavirus restrictions getting slightly stricter here in Austria. But we will be able to have a presentation. Moni Irvine steps up, third place for her and a bronze medal. And as you can see, no placing it around her neck. This is all part of the restrictions. But a fist pump. Third place in the speed for Moni Irvine. As I mentioned, we've got boulder tomorrow, lead on Friday and combined on Saturday. As well as some paraclimbing action as well. Laura Stuckler takes second place. Couldn't quite live with Alexandra Elm in that big final. It's very fetching medals with the Tyrolean eagle on the front. Alexandra Elmer, first place for her, no doubt who the best climber was today, quickest in the qualifiers. Never really looked like being beaten. Said in her interview she's gunning to get under 8 seconds next season. If she manages that, we'll be seeing her at a few more World Cups yet. But as it is, first place for her here in Innsbruck. Reduced crowd for obvious reasons. But still nice to see the podium ceremony.
Was für ein synchrones Siegerbild. Als wäre es abgestimmt. Bedanken wir uns bei den Ladies und gratulieren allen drei. Die Fotos sind geschossen, die Blumen verteilt, die Medaillen, sie werden noch länger strahlen.
I was about to ask where the anthem was, but I suppose if everyone's Austrian, maybe we'll get one after the men. Here come the men. As on the women's side, no doubt who the best climber was. Same man that topped the qualifying ended up, or will end up, topping the podium. Lawrence Bogersdorfer, third place for him. didn't have the best of times in the qualifiers or in fact in his first 2 races, but just got quicker and quicker as the day went on and is rewarded with a bronze medal. Matthias Erber, second place for him. Managed to dip under 6.5 seconds in the big final, but it wasn't quite enough. Clearly the second best climber today, and he finishes with the silver medal, well deserved.
Gratulation an Matthias Erber. Und holt Gold. Ist der Staatsmeister im Speed mit einer Finalzeit von 5,94. Der Rekordhalter
Tobias Planger takes the top of the podium. He's deserved it all day. Only man to go under 6 seconds today. Managed it twice, once in the qualifiers and once when it mattered most in the big final. Gold medal for him. Ever so slight choreographer issue, but he won't mind. He's got the medal he wanted. Winner here in Innsbruck. And so concludes the first of 4 busy days here in Innsbruck. We'll see you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, right here at the Kletterzentrum for the first of the bouldering semi-finals.
Wir kommen zur U20 Staatsmeister Speed bei den Ladies.
Also die Favoriten haben sich durchgesetzt letztlich. Reini, was ist dein allgemeines Resümee am heutigen Tag? Was hat sich sonst noch getan, außer die Leistungen ganz oben am Podest?
Naja, es ist so, dass gerade beim Speed bei den Herren das Feld dichter wird und das ist sehr erfreulich, weil es war noch nie der Fall, dass wir 6, 7 Athleten haben, die zwischen 6 und 7 Sekunden klettern können. Und das war ein Hammer. Jetzt, der Erber Matthias vor allem mit seinen konstanten 6-4er Zeiten hervorragend und ein bisschen lauter als man fast schon mit Lukas, aber es ist ein Wettkampf.
Fühlst du da mit? Wer hat am Ende dann richtig geknickt, ne? Dass er da auch das kleine Finale verloren hat?
Ja, ich habe gerade hinten mit ihm geredet, weil er weiß, wenn es um internationale Platzierungen geht, dann geht es nicht nur um einen Titel, von denen hat er ja schon viele, sondern er braucht Zeit. Und die Zeit wollte er halt einfach einmal erklettern, auch Zeit unter 6 Sekunden und das ist halt dann in die Hosen gegangen.
Ist ja Österreich ein bisschen noch weg von der internationalen Spitze, was den Speed, die Speedtechnik betrifft. Wo siehst du das Potenzial? Wo geht es da jetzt noch hin unmittelbar? Wie nah ist Österreich schon dran, um da auch eine Rolle spielen zu können international?
Naja, was man sieht, ist, dass wenn der interne Konkurrenzkampf einmal da ist, dann macht das schon einmal ganz, ganz viel aus. Und mit dem Blanka Tobi haben wir jemanden, der unter die Top 10 reinklettern kann. Und wenn der jetzt auch noch Konkurrenz kriegt, also von hinten her ein bisschen, dann tut ihm das fürs Training auch gut.
Die Speed-Titel sind also hiermit vergeben. Morgen geht es ums Bouldern. Schon heute hat die Qualifikation stattgefunden. Morgen geht es um die Semifinale und natürlich dann die Finalkämpfe, die wir auch live übertragen. Was erwarten wir da? Gut, es gibt einen Abwesenden mit Jakob Schubert, aber was tut sich sonst? Was sind wer sind deine Favoriten?
Ja, im Bouldern ist das Rennen ein bisschen offen, dadurch, dass der Jakob nicht dabei ist. Das sind 5, 6 Athleten, die einfach gewinnen können. Und bei den Damen ist es auch nicht so gegessen, wer da wirklich die Top-Favoritin ist. Also es ist sehr, sehr spannend. Es war heute eine ganz, ganz schwierige Runde, wo man nicht viel auslesen hat können. Es sind nur 2 Boulder geklettert worden jeweils. Also das war eine ziemlich harte Runde.
Okay, wir freuen uns auf den morgigen Tag. Es wird ein intensiver Tag eben schon mit den Semifinalläufen untertags und dann am Abend die Finalentscheidungen live zu sehen in ORF Sport Plus ab 18 Uhr bzw. ab 20.15 Uhr. Wir hoffen, dass Sie wieder mit dabei sind. Für heute wünschen wir Ihnen hier aus Innsbruck noch einen angenehmen Abend. Ciao.